At the Antwerp International Airport, a team of thieves known as the Panthers are planning to steal some red diamonds from a hangar. By pretending to be a flight attendant, Giovanna gets a private room and installs some gadgets to do surveillance. The rest of the team is hiding in 2 cars inside a container and they drive to the hangar while dressed as SWAT officers. Once they're close enough, they throw a smoke bomb, shoot the cameras, and tie everyone up. Next they find the right box and burn the lock to open it. Once they have the right package they rush back to their cars because security guards are here. A chase ensues but the team's already been prepared for this. The cars hide in a container again and it's taken away by a truck pretending it's cargo. Meanwhile in Los Angeles, Sheriff Nick is getting rid of his wedding ring and breaking things in a bathroom after losing everything during the divorce negotiations. He decides to go to a bar to drink and watches the news to learn about the airport heist, which he immediately guesses was done by the Panthers. In the evening he searches for Holly, the widow of a now dead Panther. He gets in her car and forces her to follow another vehicle to the harbor, where they enter a container. Nick asks her where the Panthers went and where they're hiding the cash, but Holly wants a cut of the money or she'll send a video of her and Nick getting dirty to his daughters. Nick has no choice but to agree and Holly tells him the money is in a French bank. In France, the Panthers are already planning their next move. Donnie will pretend to be some promoters involved in an upcoming festival. Giovanna introduces Donnie to Hava, the wife of the bank manager who is shown the stolen red diamonds as proof of his made-up identity. Then Hava takes him to the World Diamond Center and Donnie gets to study where every camera is located plus the guards' movements. Donnie is given his own office to take care of his inventory but he's denied a vault box because they're currently all taken. On his way out Donnie tells Giovanna that they need to find a way to the vaults, unaware someone is watching them. In Italy, Mafia boss Octopus learns that his red diamonds were stolen and sends his men to find them. Sometime later Hava takes Donnie to an appraiser, who confirms the red diamonds are real. There's a tracker hidden in the package but to Donnie's shock, Hava tosses it into a cup of coffee before offering less money than the red diamond's real value. Since Donnie needs her silence, he takes the offer. The duo returns to the bank and finishes the transaction, then Donnie goes to his team's headquarters to go over the plan. Giovanna gives everyone SIM cards and assigns roles according to their skills. By looking at a map they realize they're still missing lots of intel, so Donnie will have to do more research. Their first step is to find a safe escape route near the border with Italy, which doesn't have any cameras. Arrives in France and meets with Detective Hugo, who has been investigating the Panthers for a while. They share the details of their cases and agree they appear to be the same gang. Hugo shows Nick footage of the bank's cameras and Nick gets excited when he sees Donnie, however he pretends that's not the guy he's looking for and leaves. That night the Panthers go to a bar and Giovanna flirts with a bank guard while installing an app on his phone that gives the team access to the device. When Donnie goes home he finds Nick eating at the table and joins him while taking out his gun. Nick pushes the table as a distraction and immediately disarms him before announcing he's broke. It turns out Nick is tired of being a cop since he works hard to never get a reward, so now he wants to help the Panthers rob the bank. Donnie has heard that Nick was fired but since Nick threatens to take him to Hugo, Donnie has to agree to introduce him to the Panthers. The next day Octopus men arrive in France and talk to the local criminals for clues. They get a video of Donnie and discover he was the last person the diamond tracker detected. Meanwhile Donnie introduces Nick to Giovanna while the rest of the team watches them at a safe distance. After the meeting is over, the other Panthers tell Giovanna they're suspicious of Nick because he used to be a cop, but Giovanna points out he's the key to getting into the vault. Later Donnie in a vault, claiming he has some inventory coming. That night Nick meets the rest of the Panthers at a bar and has to consume some illegal stuff to prove he's against the law now. Then he dances with Giovanna so closely that it makes Marco jealous because he and Giovanna used to date. Donnie tells Nick to cut it out or he'll get in trouble, but Nick ignores him and keeps touching Giovanna. A furious Marco separates them and headbutts Nick, triggering a fight. As the men hit each other on the ground, Donnie wants to stop them, but Vic blocks him and starts fighting him too. Soon security arrives and kicks the whole team out. The police also come and Hugo pats Nick down before letting him go. Donnie and Nick start making their way home when suddenly the Italian mafia catches them by surprise and pushes them into their car. In the morning, Nick and Donnie find themselves on a boat in the middle of the ocean. The Italians tell them to get the red diamonds back if they want to live before pushing them both into the water. As the boat sails away, Donnie explains to Nick that he hadn't known the red diamonds belonged to the mafia. The duo has no choice but to swim to the shore, where Nick announces he's quitting the heist because he doesn't want trouble with the Italians, who are very dangerous. A few hours later Nick watches the local guards from his balcony while he gets him to join the heist again. Then Nick meets with the team and learns that Marco and Vic have quit. After covering Nick's head, the team takes him to their headquarters to discuss the plan. The bank has 127 cameras that cycle through at 10-second intervals, which translates into 117 of those views going dark every now and then. They'll have to descend into the vault with perfect timing to move undetected through those dark moments. Privacy laws mean the footage is live and not recorded, but they still have a blind spot issue. There's an area that only certain people can access, so Nick will have to pretend to be a security contractor. In the afternoon Donnie introduces Nick to the bank manager, who's received an email with Nick's resume as a cop. Nick is now authorized to be Donnie's bodyguard inside the bank. Then they meet with Hava, who makes an appointment with Nick so they can put away Donnie's inventory. When they return to the team's headquarters, they work on the devices they'll need for the heist, like a reflector to trick the cameras. Giovanna gives Nick a special jacket that can record in every direction and Nick tries flirting with her again, but she turns him down. Afterward Donnie and Nick go to the bank to deposit the inventory. Hava guides Nick to the vault, and his suit records all the details of the bank's security measures for the team, like the camera positions. While putting away the inventory in the vault, Nick learns the location of the red diamonds, which he tells Donnie later. In the meantime, Marco and Vic team up with a gang known as the Tigers to get revenge on the Panthers. At the headquarters, the Panthers 3D print a mask and disguise a car while Nick learns how to trick a digital lock with just a spray. He returns to the bank pretending Donnie needs something from his vault and uses the spray in his mouth to make it look like medicine. Once other people are distracted, he uses it on the vault sensor too. That night the entire city is watching an important soccer match, including the bank guards. The Panthers get ready for the heist while the Tigers also get their weapons and gather their men. Giovanna hides in a building near the bank to keep an eye on the cameras and security systems. The guys go to the parking lot of the neighboring building and Donnie wears a mask that looks like the manager to pass through the camera at the reception. The car's lights blind the camera so the team can sneak out and make it to the stairs without being seen. When they find a door, they break the lock with a small drill and rush to the roof. Using a metal bar, they cross the gap between buildings and reach the roof of the bank. While Giovanna keeps them updated on the camera loops, the men break another lock and wait for the right moment to go downstairs. Every time they are about to tells them to stop and wait until the loop passes. Eventually they reach an elevator and force the door open to then carefully climb down. They only have a few seconds, but luckily they move fast enough to close the elevator again before the camera notices them. Next the guys line up behind the reflector to cross the corridor and finally make it to the vault. They simply pick the lock in the gate, but for the actual vault they use some advanced devices that allow them to open it without making noise. They proceed to break open all the boxes and steal all the valuables, although Nick and Donnie get frustrated because they can't find the red diamonds. At that moment the manager's soccer team starts losing, so he decides to come back. Giovanna sees him on the cameras and immediately alerts the men, who stop opening boxes and begin filling their bags. Donnie doesn't want to leave without the red diamonds, and after lots of searching he finally finds them. The group rushes to hide in the elevator shaft, so when the manager finally makes it to the vault, he finds it closed and leaves without suspecting anything. Once the guy is gone, the group starts climbing their way up the elevator shaft, always waiting for the cameras to loop. One man stays in the basement to pull at the rope so the bags can quickly move up too, and once the valuables are safe everyone else finishes climbing as well. When Giovanna gives the bank and starts crossing the gap between buildings again. All the team makes it through except for Nick because the metal bar breaks as he's trying to cross. Half of it falls on the street and is seen on the camera by the guards, who decide they must secure the roof. Giovanna sees the guards moving and tells the team to run. Nick is still holding onto the other half of the bar and has no choice but to climb back to the bank's roof. He throws his bag at his partners before rushing downstairs, making sure to hide whenever he hears a guard coming. When the guard makes it to the roof, he doesn't see anything suspicious. Meanwhile the rest of the team gets to the car and leaves the parking lot, which is also seen on camera. Nick continues to sneak around the bank and tries every door on his way, but they're all locked. Eventually a guard finds him and Nick immediately shoots him down, knowing the man has a bulletproof vest. Another guard hears the shot and activates the bank's alarm. Since he's already been hurt anyway, Nick breaks a door open and finds a balcony that is low enough for him to jump over it and land on a random car. The team immediately picks him up and they drive away as the cameras pick up the car's license plate. Moments later the team enters another parking lot and begins peeling off the white paint from the car to change its color. They also put on a new plate, the vehicle that Giovanna will drive in a different direction. At the bank, the manager and the guards finally discover that the vault was robbed. As the guys make their way to the Italian border, they notice a car following them. They're confused because it isn't a police vehicle, but they get their guns ready anyway. A second car appears behind them and opens fire, revealing it's Marco and Vic with the Tigers. Nick and his partners have to fire back while Donnie drives like crazy to help them dodge the bullets. After lots of shooting and a couple of wounds, neither side appears to be winning, so Donnie suddenly turns the car around and starts driving backward. Now the Panthers have better aim and manage to shoot a few of the thugs. However, this isn't enough to stop them and the chase continues. The cars cross a dark tunnel and a bridge to reach the road near the mountains. The shooting also goes on and Nick finally manages to hit a driver, causing one of the cars to fall off the road and down the cliff. Unfortunately, this leaves the Panthers without bullets, so the Tigers take the chance to shoot at their tires, causing the car to crash against the mountainside. Marco and Vic come back and get ready to kill the Panthers, but before they can shoot, they're killed first by the Italians who just arrived. Donnie gives the diamonds to Octopus men, who in return give him another car's keys so they can escape. After burning down their crashed car and finally leave. In Italy, the men reunite with Giovanna to celebrate their success. However, their happiness is interrupted when the police rush in to arrest them all. Donnie and Giovanna notice how Nick is taken to a different vehicle, revealing he's been working with Hugo to capture the Panthers all along. Soon the arrest makes the news and Octopus gets an idea. Sometime later Nick visits Donnie in prison and admits he had been tricking the crew all along, but also that their friendship was real. Before leaving, Nick advises Donnie to sit back left. When it's time to transport Donnie to another facility, 2 helicopters land in the middle of the road to block the convoy. Donnie sits as Nick said while a bunch of masked men rescue him from the cops and take him away in the choppers. Donnie is then dropped at Octopus' house and learns he was rescued by the Italian mafia. Octopus is impressed by Donnie's skills to rob the bank and now wants him to work for him. Later that day Nick gets a message from Donnie saying, "See you soon."